I'm often asked to describe the experience of raising a child with a disability to help those who may not have shared this unique experience to better understand it and imagine how it might feel. Well, it's like this. You're going to have a baby. It's like planning a fabulous vacation trip to Italy. You buy new guidebooks, you make big plans. Colosseum, the Michelangelo David, the gondolas in Venice. It's all very exciting, and you might even learn some handy Italian phrases. After several months of eager anticipation, the day arrives. You pack your bags, off you go. Plane lands several hours later. Stewardess comes out and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say? What do you mean Holland? I'm supposed to be in Italy. I've always dreamt of going to Italy. Well, there's been a change in flight plan. Holland is where you've landed, and there you must stay. So the important thing to remember is that you haven't been left in a horrible, disgusting, filthy place full of famine, pestilence, and disease. It is just a different place. So you go out and you buy new guidebooks, you must learn an entirely new language, and meet a whole new group of people that you would have never met. It is just a different place. Less flashy than Italy, slower pace than Italy. Take a step back, you catch your breath after you've been there for a while, and you realize, Holland's not so bad. Holland has windmills. Holland has tulips, and Holland even has Rembrandts. But all the while, everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy, bragging about what a fabulous time they've had there. And for the rest of your life, you will say, that is where I was supposed to be. That is what I had planned. The pain of that loss will never, ever go away, because the loss of a dream is a very significant loss. But if you spend your time mourning the fact that you didn't get to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very lovely and very special things about Holland. One of the greatest joys of my life was the birth of our daughter, Lila May. We were here. We had landed in Italy. Here we were. We take her home. We do what most new parents do and learn about sleep habits and feeding schedules, and we certainly read all the guidebooks. Now, we're very natural-minded when it comes to medicine in our house. So I was weighing Lila and measuring her at the naturopath every month, solely for our journal purposes. All the while, she wasn't meeting the milestones that her peers were. She had severe acid reflux and these critical food allergies that we had learned of, but none of this made us stop dead in our tracks. We just did what we could to help her overcome these issues and moved along. Weighing her turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because at 8 months, Lila was 10 pounds 1 ounce, at 9 months, 10 pounds 2 ounces, and at 10 months, 10 pounds 1 ounce. Those are very critical stages for growth in an infant. So the naturopath looked at me, who's not a pediatrician goer herself, and said, "You need to go to the pediatrician." For me, that was like running directly into a brick wall. For me, that was the day that I realized we were not in Italy. And that was the day that I realized that everything had changed for our family. So we all have those days, the loss of a family member, maybe the foreclosure or short sale of your home that you thought you were going to raise your family in forever, the change in health status of yourself or a loved one. We all have those days, but what's most important is what we choose to do with that moment in time. We all have the ability to resist or accept what we've been presented. So even though we knew we weren't in Italy, we had no idea where we were supposed to be or where we were going, but we just kept plugging along. So we continued our travels, stopping at Stanford, University of Chicago, Shriners in Sacramento, and here locally having a battery of tests done on Lila that you could never even imagine having done on your infant. 2 MRIs, 2 EEGs, EKGs, nerve conduction test, skull X-ray. At this point, we were buying new guidebooks. We were learning a whole new language and meeting an entirely new group of people that we would have never thought we would have met. All of those tests came back normal, stumping us and the doctors. So at the age of 2.5, Lila was diagnosed with hypotonic cerebral palsy with chorioathetoid movements for lack of any other name. So that for us, cerebral palsy is typically found in an MRI, 99.9% of the time. Her MRIs were normal. So we felt as though this was just a diagnosis that the doctor gave us based on the way she presents herself. So we kept going on our travels, because if this wasn't it, we were missing something. We looked at all the rare syndromes out there, Rett syndrome, Turner syndrome, dystonias, all the tests coming back normal. And at this point, all of the signs in our travels were in a foreign language. But again, we all have those trips as well, with twists and turns and bumps in the road. that you would never expect. Thankfully, we all also run across those people in our journey that bring us clarity in ways that you could never expect. Our first unexpected guide was our daughter, Nora. During her pregnancy, we started learning about umbilical cord stem cells and the possibility of banking them for Lila at a later date. And that was the greatest gift that my husband and I felt that we could have our siblings give each other. There aren't many kids that can say, I changed my sister or brother's life forever just by coming into this world. So we decided this was something that we needed to do. So about 3 months after Nora was born, Lila was 3.5 at this point, we started talking to doctors all over the world about stem cell treatments. We learned everything we could about stem cells themselves. And we became part of these parent-to-parent networks of these moms that had already administered stem cell treatments with their children. The results that these parents had seen were out of this world. You wouldn't even believe these stories. Those moms still today are my biggest support system, and I would have never met them had we landed in Italy. So at that point, Lila's 4.5, we decide we definitely need to give her this. We'd be crazy not to give her this. So we go to the neurologist, and we tell him of our next step in her journey. He says, oh, whoa, if you're going to do an alternative treatment, we really need to make sure we haven't left any stone unturned. So he goes back and he reviews Lila's MRIs. She's 4.5, remember, at 18 months and 2.5 years. And he comes to find that her cerebellum, which sits at the top of her spine and the base of her brain, is in fact smaller than normal. Here we are. We have just landed in Holland. What an amazing feeling. We actually knew what we needed to do for her. We had the guidebooks, we knew the language, and we had already started meeting this amazing group of people that we would have never, ever met. All we had to do now was figure out how we were going to thrive in Holland. Now, for me at this point, a shift happened in my purpose. I was very clear in my new purpose, and that was to give this little girl everything I possibly could so that she could become an independent, thriving adult, giving, caring, loving in this world, and maintain that independence for time to come. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. It hasn't been easy, and I'm sure it won't in the years to come. But what I also know is that there's nowhere else that I would rather be than right here, right now. So now my husband and I, with this newfound purpose and official diagnosis, can move forward in trying to figure out how in the heck are we going to afford a stem cell treatment? We've made this really big decision, but we don't have any backing for it. So we thought about maybe starting a fundraising effort, which was a little uneasy for us. We're not very good at accepting gifts, especially monetary gifts. We're not the kind of people that ask for anything. So thankfully, unexpected guide number 2 comes along. This man heard Lila's story and gave us $300 for her to have a better future. He didn't want a thank you note. He didn't want any recognition. As a matter of fact, we still don't know this man today, and he has no idea just how much he has changed one little girl's life forever. He was in remission from cancer and felt as though he hadn't done enough good in his life, he hadn't given back enough. So Lila was his first step to giving back, and our first step as well, because he gave us the confidence and the understanding that we could fundraise, and it was okay, and we could give Lila what she needed. So after 8 months of fundraising, she was able to have a stem cell treatment and attend an intensive physical therapy program. So that fundraising was a big learning experience for us. Our community, embraced her like no other, near and far. There were fundraisers going on all over this country for Lila. And me here at home, I started hand-making these purses. I have a background in interior design, and I had shelves full of fabric. So I made 10 purses, and I did one vendor show, and I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to do this again. What am I doing? Well, here I am, 2.5 years later. I cannot keep these bags in stock. I get custom orders monthly, and I realized last year when we made $5,000 for her just on purses that this could be something bigger. So I've met with a local manufacturer about manufacturing the bags. We have begun that effort. I've met with a local business coordinator about starting a nonprofit officially, because Lila has given me this gift, and that is that not only can I give back to her, but I can give back to this community that has given us so much. It's been unbelievable. So that is the gift for me, there's no doubt. So I've also met with local retailers about getting the bags in their storefronts to really raise awareness and get this out there for Lila. So I want to encourage every one of you to take that bag in your life, take that purse in your life and run with it. You never know what can happen. So where was I before Lila? I was in the world of interior architecture and design. My passion, no doubt. I put my heart and soul into every project that crossed my plate for 17 years. Everything had its place. I'm a planner from beginning to end and every detail in the middle, usually. I like to know what I'm doing today and tomorrow and the next week and the next year. But as we all know when we have kids, those things don't ever hold true. So those characteristics still apply for me today, but at a little bit of a lesser level. I'm better at being flexible with schedule and taking each day as it comes. And Lila herself has taught me to accept everyone as they are, strive for whatever I want, and never take no for an answer. She's taught me to embrace this community that has loved us so much, to be able to give back, and she's definitely changed my perspective on life. She's taught me the gratitude in the little things, the bird that sits on the tree that she points out every day, the 2 independent steps that she took in her room one night. No one was around, she motivated herself to do this, and that was huge for her. We don't take those little milestones for granted anymore because those little milestones for Lila are massive. So we try to celebrate them as much as possible. Where's Lila today? Oh man. She has had 1 stem cell treatment and 4 intensive physical therapy programs, which are 4 weeks long, 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. So imagine going to the gym 5 hours a day, 5 days a week for a month straight. We'd be like Iron Man. So Lila has done that 4 times. Prior to that, she would walk with her walker, all of her wheels locked. We would have to turn her every which way she went. She really didn't know where her body was in space. She had very little control. Her processing speed was quite slow, so you never knew if she was really ignoring you or if she was really going to answer your question. After the stem cell treatment, her processing speed after 10 days sped up so fast that she is able to answer questions like that. She raises her hand in class. She socializes with her peers on a more normal level. This kid is amazing. Physically, since 4 intensive physical therapy programs, has gone from her walker wheels wheels fully locked to completely unlocked, full control, to the point where we were out last weekend and there was hopscotch on the ground and she wanted to play. So she took a running start, lifted 1 leg, and kept cruising on her walker and did the hopscotch along the ground. Nothing stops this kid. She then went from her walker to forearm crutches and now to quad canes, which are very difficult for her to walk with. She has far exceeded our expectations by 110%. So remember, at any moment in time, something life-changing can happen to any one of us. It's what you choose to do with that moment in time that really, really matters. You can have the choice to accept what you've been presented, and I promise a whole new world of opportunity will open up. This new language that we can learn can teach us true humility, have us gain a greater sense of community, change our perspective on life, and take us on a journey that's far greater than we could ever expect. So take that bump in the road. Mourn where you thought you were supposed to be, accept where you are, and I promise you will flourish. Now I'd like to introduce my husband, Matt, and my daughter, Lila. Hey! Hi! Hi! Do you want to wave and blow kisses? Wave. Oh, okay, big girl. Blow a kiss when you're walking out, okay?